Thank you very much, Dirk. Good afternoon. I'm going to talk to you today about the British Gas story, about why and how we've started to re-engineer our customer decisioning platform. I'm going to talk about three key areas. I'm going to give you a little bit of context around British Gas. I'm going to talk a bit about our approach to next generation decisioning, which is the programme to implement Pega. And I'm going to share some of the challenges and learnings we've had along the way. A lot of you will know something about British Gas. So for those of you who don't, we are one of the big six in the UK supplying energy to residential and commercial customers. I work within the British Gas Home division, which is servicing our 10.5 million residential customers. What you probably don't know about British Gas is that we are one of the oldest companies in the world. British Gas started in 1812, when we started hand lighting the first gas-powered street lights in Westminster in London. Every night we still light some 1,500 remaining gas lamps in London, but we're much more focused now on helping our customers achieve smooth running homes that save them time, energy and money. We've also been embracing innovation, and we were given a mission to make the connected home a reality for our customers and not just the technophiles amongst us. We're giving customers more control over their lives and homes by providing them products that are beautiful in their simplicity and their design. Our first product, Hive Active Heating, launched in September 2013, and it's now the UK's #1 connected thermostat. Our challenge is to embrace this innovation throughout British Gas to become the 21st century energy and services company that our customers expect. But with this heritage comes a lot of legacy. People don't come to work to do a bad job, but over time we make a lot of decisions, and most of them are for good reason, and often in small groups. With organic growth and periodic restructuring comes a spider web of technologies which result in silos of business operations. If you step back and look at the bigger picture, you can see this has often resulted in disjointed customer interactions and silos of customer experience. A clear example of that for British Gas is moving home. So within our moving home journey, and we've talked a little bit about moving home today already, we have upwards of 17 customer communication at present that we send out to our customers to move home. For most companies, that's just a simple change of address. We like to make it more difficult. In the decisioning world, we also faced some constraints on flexibility, partly due to conduct and regulation, but we didn't have the capability that we needed and we wanted to help us realise our vision. And we also have a lot of responsibility to provide balance. On one side of the scales, we have a duty of care to manage the regulatory burden in the energy sphere and evolving privacy legislation. Data is big in demand for us, and there's increasing need for us to be able to prove what data we've used in our conversations with our customers. And we also need to treat them fairly. On the other side, we want to put the customers at the heart of what we're doing and be able to optimise for the customer to deliver a better customer experience. We need to innovate, and we need to provide better products and better journeys. And we have a responsibility to our shareholders to make good use of our resources. We think this a little bit like all the business units coming together and needing to manage that conversation about who we should talk to about what. That's a bit like sitting on the crossroads for us. And then within our CRM team, we're able to do that, to sit in that place and manage that balance across people. But to fully realise our ambition and help us do a better job, we knew we had to re-engineer our customer decisioning platform to unlock the improvements that earn customer experience and create value from our significant data assets. Happily, that aligns with the Centrica vision. Our strategy is about satisfying the changing needs of our customers. It's about supplying energy to our residential and business customers. And it's about having a distinctive and leading services capability through 12,000 engineers on the ground. We're also about creating a new global connected homes business, investing in innovation, something that British Gas, you probably thought would never do. We'll grow our business by improving customer service and developing the right offers to retain and win our customers. The role of next generation decisioning within that is to move from product push to customer conversations. With a deeper understanding of our customers, we can create a personalised, relevant and timely dialogue with our customers so that they choose to engage with us, buy more and stay longer. So moving on to more of next generation decisioning, we have within British Gas 2 capabilities right now. We have best next action, what Pega would call next best action, but we like to be different. And that serves our inbound channels. We also have campaigning, which is for our outbound channels. The two don't talk to each other at all. In targeting an outbound campaign for an offer today, we wouldn't recognise that the customer might have called in yesterday and rejected that offer. In targeting an inbound campaign, the converse is true, and we can't leverage the scale of our outbound proactive conversations. Simply isn't efficient, and it's confusing. You'll also notice, if you look at my two lovely circles, they're largely doing the same thing. We're writing rules for our customers. We've got offers. We use adaptive models. We use forecasting to be able to predict what's going to happen. We have data structures. Our approach is to bring these together for a better, more coherent experience that is more efficient for British Gas. Today, we're bringing inbound and outbound channels together and structuring them around the customer. This puts the customer first and helps us to think about what their best next action is in relation to their current context. We create all our offers and our analytics once, and we move to a single integrated customer contact plan. All our channels will then use this to deliver integrated marketing experience. For us, that's truly customer-centric and creates a world where our customers will receive a single, consistent message across all our touch points. So here's our dilemma. 4 or 5 years ago, we built a house. Quite a nice house, looks all right. And at the time, it worked really well for us, gave us exactly what we needed. But over time, we've added a few bits here and there, we've made some home improvements, and in fact, some other people have come and moved into our house with us. And we had to make some further extensions. And now it's starting to creak. So I liken this to my own situation. My husband and I have thought for a number of years whether we should move to a bigger place or extend the current property we're in. We've got some room to extend, and we could add on a new floor here and a new floor there and add on a bigger kitchen and do all that kind of stuff. But the fact will still remain that there'll always be a room that's just that little bit too small, or a room that doesn't work for us. And we'll end up ploughing money into a house that we eventually have to move out of anyway. And by that point, house prices in the UK will definitely have gone up. At British Gas, we've chosen to move now and grow into our new home, rather than extending it, only to realise that we're going to have to encounter a major IT project to transform us onto a new platform, Big Bang. So here's how we used to do it. We have a traditional structured warehouse, which is due to be commissioned later this year. And on that, we sit our outbound campaigning activity. It's a traditional outbound capability. So it's run on structured data. We run campaigns on a fortnightly basis, in the most part. Some of it's event-based and happens daily. Some of it is automated, but not all. And files are manually sent out to channels. Our inbound, best next action, is written in raw SQL. It's written on it's using the same structured data warehouse, but on a different data set. It's files and files of raw SQL, as I mentioned, that just write all the rules of what we do to each other, what we do to our customers, and essentially it's a 4-year-old proof of concept. Both types of campaigning have some legacy, some data latency, sorry. Outbound campaigning can be up to 21 days in channel, and inbound is between 7 and 11 days out of date, depending on what day of the week it is. But the two don't talk to each other at all. We have no idea what happens in one channel to the next. Not great for customer experience. So what's it going to look like tomorrow? Well, happily, I talked about our data warehouse being decommissioned. We're moving to a Hadoop platform across British Gas. So we're going to move into the world of big data. So there's our data lake, as we call it. I mentioned earlier that we wanted to move into a house that we could grow into, so we're taking a phased approach in our delivery to next generation decisioning. That will allow us to take advantage of capability early, reduce the risk, and reap the benefits straight away. So phase one. Phase one went live on the 21st of January this year, just 6 months after we signed a contract with Pega. In phase one, we moved and enhanced our best next action solution for our digital and our inbound call centres. We've moved that from 7 to 11 days down to a latency of 1 day. We've changed that to be run on a daily basis for our customers. We've also introduced additional simulation capability in this step, which allows us to predict what we can talk to our customers about. We can go and sit at the table with our senior leadership teams and be able to talk to them about what will happen if we make a tweak here and we make a tweak there. And as I said, that's been live now since January. Phase two is the big ticket item for us. This is due to go live in October of this year. This is when we move to a world of centralized strategies across our inbound and our outbound decisioning. We'll start thinking about what we want to talk to a customer first, and the channel will become a secondary conversation. We're also going to bring on a new channel in this phase, which is our engineer channel. So currently our field engineers make 12 billion visits, sorry, not 12 billion, 12 million, that would be ridiculous. 12 million visits to into our customers' homes. And right now, when they walk into a customer's home, they have absolutely no idea whether the house they're about to walk into is supplied by British Gas. Not a great position when you're walking into a customer's home that you know nothing and that customer knows a lot more than you do. So we're going to bring them online, we're going to join them up and be able to have joined up conversations across all of our channels. This is all in batch still, so we're still pre-canning offers for our customers on a daily basis. In phase three, we'll start to move to a world of real time, and we'll start to add colour to the conversation by way of context. Digital is kind of the obvious choice here because there's so much data at our fingertips, and we'll be able to influence what happens throughout the journey and what we talk to our customer about based on the page that they're landing on. The other bit that I'm quite excited about phase three is the email capability that we get from Pega. Right now, when we select a customer for an outbound email campaign, it takes about 2 weeks for that to go through the internal processes and out the door to our customers. With Pega, we'll be able to decide what is in that email, not at the point when we select it, not the point when it goes out the door, but at the point when the customer opens that email, meaning we can be incredibly timely and incredibly relevant. Phase four, which is our final phase, will take all the other channels into the real-time space. That's really great for us because we'll start to be able to really join up the journeys and have an idea of what's happening in one channel from the day to the next, and within seconds we'll be able to realise new offers, a bit like Jeff was showing us earlier. That's our kind of vision of being able to do stuff like this without the teleporting. It'd be great that when a customer calls us and calls into our inbound call centre, that if they're complaining, we'll be able to strip out every single offer that's promoting something to customer. We can realise relevancy at that point. That takes us to a world at the end of phase four of centralised decisioning across all our channels, on demand, integrated strategies across the channels, and robust simulation. And it's all in the cloud. And here's our new home. Doesn't it look good? I'd show you a picture of mine, but I'm not due to move in till next month, so admittedly it's a little bit smaller than that. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but we already know that we've made absolutely the right choice to make that jump now. and move into our new house. We're able to do some really great things. We have centralized strategies, which I've already talked about. We're also able to simulate 1 billion offers in under 3 hours. That's really powerful. We also have an elastic cloud. We've already taken advantage of that cloud. So last year, we had a really fun time in December where we started our performance testing. And we have an SLA of being able to decision 1 billion offers in 3 hours. And on day one, it took us 60 hours. But within 2 weeks, we got that down to 1 hour, 40 minutes with the help of the Pega cloud and our support. So the benefits for us are crystal clear. We're able to improve the relevancy of our conversation by joining up everything across the channels. Since this is one capability, we only need one team. That's great, we'll be able to have one smaller, more efficient team. And the timing couldn't be better with the fit with our IT strategy to decommission our structured data warehouse and move to big data. And that gives our IT colleagues a great way to be able to monetize their data platform, so they become our best friends. Our business case is therefore based on multi-million-pound savings. And in phase one already, we've seen an increase in conversion of upwards of 20%, which is fantastic news. So what about the challenges? First, as a business, we had to work hard to change the question and rewire for the customer, thinking why on best next action first and then the channel. But they actually went a little bit further than that. So within our teams, we've got the best next action team and the outbound team. They think very, very differently. Goes into the data about how you approach a customer, whether you start with a customer, whether you start with an address, because British Gas works on meter points. We also need to get the most out of technology, and we need to drive end-to-end innovation, both on the hardware side with Internet of Things, for example, with smart boilers, which we're able to predict a breakdown rather than wait for your boiler to fail. And in our customer journeys, we need to be able to be seamless across channels. And our contact strategies, where we need to focus on moving from a one-size-fits-all approach to a customer-level plan. With Pega, we're creating this on-demand across all products and across all channels. Interestingly, when we were doing our selection process last year, we spoke to one vendor who told us that inbound and outbound were fundamentally different, and therefore you couldn't do it in one tool. We're proving them wrong right now. I won't tell you who it was. So we've also learned a lot along the way. We're using a business-driven approach, so far our IT investment has been very, very minimal. And in fact, that IT investment was done out of plan. So British Gas generally decides what it's going to invest its money in 18 months in advance, and we managed to get that on the change plan in year because it was a small amount and we were going to lead this as a business. We also initiated the decision with what we had. So I mentioned we were already moving to a big data platform. So when we're moving to Hadoop, we're not only changing our decisioning platform, we're changing our data platform at the same time. So we started to build our data in the cloud. And by that, I mean cheating a little bit. We cheated and took some data from our structured data warehouse, piped it up via what we call our elevator into the cloud from Hadoop. And hey presto, we've got an integrated, unified version of the truth. I talked a little bit about simulation already. We've started to really, really use the power of what-if scenario planning. We make informed decisions for our portfolios, and we're able to simulate and debate the impact. This really helps us when we're standing on that crossroad with our business units, and we've got a real seat at the table now to help guide the decision making. We've also turned on adaptive decisioning, so machine learning modelling. We turned it on, we're not using it, it's just learning. And when we've got time, later on in the year, probably after phase 2, we'll actually start to look at that and work out how we can use that information to drive and improve the rules that we're making for our customers. And every Pega cloud has a silver lining. I mentioned already that the cloud has been fantastic for us, and that period in December that was rather stressful was made so much more easy by the fact that we're in the cloud. When we talked to our IT department about that, they suggested that that kind of performance issue that we'd had would have taken us 6 to 12 months to rectify if we'd been doing that on premise. Time we didn't have. The other great thing about the cloud is the security. So British Gas is pretty risk averse. It always has been, and that's not going to change anytime soon. But when we sat down with our information security guys and Pega teams, Pega's cloud is actually more secure than our on-premise platforms. Not a bad place to be. So in summary, it's been a fantastic year for us. We're 11 months into a business-led program and we're already seeing returns. We've kind of got the first floor in of our house and we're already working on the second floor, and that's going not too bad so far. Big challenges in changing people's mindset, but we're working on through it. We're aligning our processes so we can provide an integrated experience to our 10.5 million customers. And that just shows that we're a high-performing CRM team. We've created an efficient team, and we'll continue to improve that, one team under one roof, which when a business, I'd probably all know that British Gas is restructuring right now, that's kind of welcome news that we can actually shave headcount off. We've increased the speed of our data, moving it down from 7 to 11 days to 1 day's latency, meaning we can really recognise and be relevant to our customers. And we've made some fantastic decisions with our partners. Obviously, Pega, the fact that we've got our Pega solution is world-class decisioning on a fast cloud infrastructure. And our partners at Cura, based principally out of the UK, they've helped us, they've really supported us to translate the business requirements into technical delivery and operational excellence. And we've achieved all this in 12 months. Achieving that in 12 months just makes me incredibly excited about what we can do in the next 12 months when we realise our vision of moving to centralised decisioning, something that not many customers are doing. Thank you.
Please stick around a while.
Sorry, a while.
Good. Joe, there are a couple of things that I wrote down that took from your presentation, and one in your transformation, British Gas really takes responsibility to be relevant to your customers. Yep. And one of the remarks you made, people don't come to work to make bad decisions, but constraints prevent them from making the best decisions all the time. So how can we take away the constraints? And from a customer centricity perspective, give customers their best next action in their channel, in their preferred channel. So absolutely. Really putting the customer first. Very, very good and interesting story, and that you pulled this off in 11 months. Wonderful, wonderful. So before you go and leave for the airport, we would like to open it up for some questions for Joe. So if you have a question for Joe, then I'll throw the ball to you, and you catch it, and you speak in the ball. Yeah? And since the Dutch haven't qualified for the European Championships, we can easily share the spare balls with you. So, who would like to have some more insight or has a question to Joe with regards to their journey that they're on? Who can catch? Oh, here you go.
How does it work? Yeah, okay, it works.
Yeah, it works, of course.
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
Really great story. I was interesting to hear what British Gas does connecting Pega to any other, maybe financial or billing systems. How does that work in your situation?
So we class ourselves as headless right now, so we are not connected to anything almost. We are literally pulling data from our data lake and sticking it up what we call our elevator into the cloud and back again. It's as simple as that. So we've really kept the integration very, very low key for phase 1. Phase 2 again, very low key. It's only when we start to think about going to real time, when we have to start thinking about API calls, that we'll really start to link things up properly. That's allowed us to move really fast. Yeah.
Who else? In the back
Oh
there.
gosh.
Wow.
Oh no.
Oh, shit. Sorry. This gentleman with the... There you go.
There you go. You mentioned moving over to APIs. How are you connecting to Hadoop right now? Using the native connectivity, or
Sorry?
how are you connecting to Hadoop right now? Are you using the native connectivity, service calls?
No, we don't connect to Hadoop at all right now.
Okay,
We
so all the
literally,
data's in the
we actually self-serve off the lake ourselves, so we have a team within our insight department who are able to pull data that's unstructured and stick it in a flat structure that Pega likes, and then we literally squirt it up an SFTP on a daily basis,
Okay, so file transfer.
for the time being.
By the way, now you know why we haven't qualified for the championships, because I shot there, it should have been there. Missed the ball. Okay, good, go on.
Yes, thank you. I'm very interested in how you approached managing the business change process going into this new situation. How did you involve the workers? How did they adapt to the new system? What was your general approach to this?
So for phase one, that was relatively straightforward because we were kind of doing a bit of a lift, improve a bit, and shift. Phase two, which we're currently living at the moment, we're going through that journey of having to bring the people along with us. And I talked a bit about the fact that the way their brains work are slightly different. So the outbound team work off an address. They market to an address. The inbound team market to a customer. So we're having a lot of conversations about how we work through that to make sure that we're all talking the same language. So we've actually introduced another work stream within the program for this phase. In fact, there's two work streams. There's one around strategy. So what does that strategy of how we're going to talk to and engage with our customers look like? So what offers, when, how are we joining up the inbound and the outbound? And then there's also a bit about business readiness. So how do we mobilize those teams? How do we write the processes, the target operating model to make them work in a new way? And think about how many people we need in each team. So it's a big deal for us. It's one I can't answer because we're still living it. But it's probably a bigger challenge than the capability right now.
Yes, so if I may elaborate, do you feel that the workers are in a certain learning curve, that they are not as effective as they were?
They are in a learning curve. I suppose there's a challenge that they've still got the day-to-day business to do, so actually we're loading more on them, which is a challenge, but a lot of them are coming on the learning curve, and actually one of the things I mentioned already, that British Gas is going through quite a big restructure at the moment, but actually the engagement score of the teams that we're working with is going up because they can see how exciting this is, and why wouldn't you want to be part of a journey to move to a world where you're doing something relatively groundbreaking, certainly groundbreaking for the utility industry.
Okay, thank you very much.
Somebody else with a question.
Oh.
Good, another ball.
Well,
good catch.
Thank you. When you made the decision for Pega, I assume you compared some other solutions.
we did.
Okay. What were the winning criteria for Pega?
That's a pretty clear and easy question to answer, actually. We were incredibly impressed with the vision that Pega has and where they want to move to with centralised decisioning. So they have the vision that you should be able to talk to all customers across all channels and join up those conversations. A lot of their competitors don't share that vision. And I mentioned earlier, there was one supplier actually said that they're different. Why would you tie them together? And they started to show us diagrams of sellotape and string, which is a world we were already living in with our kind of best next action, and a world we really didn't want to go to. So that's one of them. The other reason was to do with the simulation capability. It's a very big deal to us to be able to simulate and predict what's going to happen. So that was a clear winner. And the third one was the cloud, and the fact that it's secure and was really fast to get up and running. So I believe it's 2 weeks from pressing a button to a cloud instance coming up, which is pretty good.
Did you also compare to other cloud providers?
Specifically cloud. So we looked at other competitors who did have cloud offerings.
Yeah.
Some of them are not actually really in the cloud. So a bit like fog, really.
Thank you.
Can you pass the ball forward, back to the stage here? maybe kick, throw, whatever? Or it's going to work. Okay. Any more questions?
Hello, Joe. Impressive story. I think you should be much more proud in telling this.
I'm very proud.
Yeah, it's amazing. A question: how data literate does your team need to be? Did they need to move up a scale in data literacy, or were they capable of using Pega from the start?
So that there's two veins to that. So one is the data from Hadoop. So we have some very clever people within our insight team who have actually taught our IT people a lot about how to use Hadoop. In terms of our internal kind of teams who use campaign tools, most of them have kind of SQL skills, so they can interrogate the data already. So the SQL part side of things was kind of happy. Learning to use a Pega tool takes time, but that's the same for any tool. We're actually very lucky that I've got a guy in the team who is ex-Vodafone and has used Cordiant. Likewise myself, I've used Cordiant before, but I think once you get the head working in the right way, the tool is fine. So the challenge is thinking differently, not the tool right now.
Okay, cool.
It's quite straightforward, and in fact, I think personally, it got a little bit harder when it was Cordiant, and it's got a little bit easier now in Pega.
So which of the two is changing the model, the decisioning in the models? Is it the IT guys who are very Hadoop literate, or is it the guys who have experience with campaigning? Who is changing the parameters, the KPIs that you want to steer on?
We are doing that within our insight department. So I sit within the insight
Right.
function. We are responsible for everything. In fact, the only thing that our IT department have done so far is check that we're doing things securely, set up an SFTP, and write a service design. Admittedly, they were involved in the whole process, so they were involved when we started talking with vendors, and we've involved them along the way, and they'll have to get far more involved as we go through. But right now, this is driven by the business, for the business.
Great statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more questions? Then I've got one final question for you, and that, and it is about the journey that you're on. It's an exciting journey. It's a lot that you're doing, a lot of already results that you're achieving. Is this something that you could do on your own, or is it something that you need support, and what sort of support?
Do you mean on our own as in build a solution ourselves rather than buy a solution, or do you mean do it ourselves?
And the actual implementation of it?
So implementation is, I think Vika mentioned it earlier, working with people who you trust and who are experts is a very good thing in this place. We're very lucky to have Adcura on side, who have got a lot of experience. They've implemented decisioning in most countries around the world and a lot of times. That a lot of us within British Gas have known before as well. Yes, we probably could do it, but at the moment we couldn't do it business-led right now. And for us, we wanted to be able to control what we wanted to do. We didn't want IT to be telling us how we should be delivering the solution. So the fact that we brought in external people to support us has meant that we can retain the kind of ownership and drive forward the change. And say they are experts, so we're in good hands.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you again, Joe, and a big hand.